Well, geez Louise, look at this market. Unbelievable. I thought for sure we were going to get a bounce up today. We had futures were up at the open, and I had some call options in the queues, and I should have taken my profit. I was up just a little bit. But man, the Qs rolled over right away. It actually got right up to that resistance area. I thought it was going to blow past that for sure, the way the futures were improving. But as soon as the market bell went off, the bears said, "Release the hounds!" And man, just a wave of selling came in. I actually took another option order, or position, I should say, to buy the bounce that I thought for sure was going to come off of this blue line here, this 50-period simple moving average. And it was very small. Studio from the Patreon was able to capitalize on it, but I held on because I thought for sure we were going to get a more of a bounce than what we got. I thought it was at least going to be a halfway decent midday bounce. Even if it failed into the close, I thought we were going to run up a heck of a lot higher than what it did. But man, I was wrong. Over 2 on my option plays on the Qs this week. This is why I don't like to swing trade in these type of markets, because it is just chop city. I mean, looking at these averages, it's just up one day, down the next. You think the thing starts to get going to the upside, it turns around. I mean, even today, even though we're getting some more weakness right now, it pretty much stopped right at the 50th period simple moving average and was just kind of hanging out there, but now it looks like it's starting to break below it, so we're probably going to get some acceleration into the close. But let's go to the 15-minute chart and take a look at the, just what was going on intraday. It came right up, hit that resistance area I had drawn on the chart from a couple of days ago, and just selling poured in, and it is unbelievable. I mean, I thought for sure we were definitely going to get a bounce today, but there is just no let up. The market is so stretched to the downside, and there are no buyers stepping in. So, judging by how this chart is looking, I would expect some more follow through to the downside tomorrow until we can break above that 8-period exponential moving average and hold it for a halfway decent amount of time. There was just going to be more selling coming into the market. Now, I would expect the market to have a pretty nice bounce next week. Your guess is as good as mine which day that's going to be, but I mean, looking at the spider, I'll take a look at the S&P 500. You can see the S&P 500 cannot get above the 8-period exponential moving average either. And the thing that's kind of interesting is the lows from Wednesday on all of the averages, except for the NASDAQ, of course. They seem to be kind of holding the lows from Wednesday, or undercutting it just a little bit today, but it's not undercutting it by much. And once it started to undercut it, it's finding a little bit of support there. So that's one reason why I think it's rather strange that we are not getting a bounce right now with the lows from Wednesday that are holding, but there are just no buyers stepping in at all. And if we take a look at the diamonds or the Dow, you can see the Dow cannot get above that 8-period exponential moving average either. So this makes me think that we have a date with this the support area right here. Call it 338, just to be a little conservative on the diamonds. I mean, I think we got a date with 338 on the diamonds next week. That is the area that I am going to look to play a bounce. If we get a big down day into this area, I think it's ripe for a snapback. Now today, I thought for sure we were going to get that snapback. Maybe I threw it off just a little bit because, they made a little bit of a bear trap and gapped it up before they sent it back down. But I mean, even if you look at the Dow right here, I mean, we all the way down to the 200-period simple moving average. We're not even in a correction yet. This is barely down 6% right now. And, a correction isn't until you get down more than 10%, by definition. If we go back to the Qs real quick, just to see how close that one is, I mean, this is probably only down like 6 or 7%. It's down almost 7%, and if we go all the way down to the 200, that's probably when we're going to get into correction territory. That'll be down about 13% if it makes it all the way down to the 200. I don't think the S&P 500 or the diamonds are even that far down, and the 200-period simple moving average is way down there. So that's about 9.25% off from the absolute high. So even if it makes it all the way down to that moving average, that's still not correction territory. And I don't know about you guys, but this move down that we've seen lately in the market hasn't even been as far down as this move here, but it seems like it's way worse. It just seems like stocks are really getting killed in these last couple of weeks. So, don't be fooled by the size of the pullback. I think the carnage is way worse. And if we go to the diamonds just one more time, all the way down to this support area, it's only 7.5%. So, I mean, it's not even a correction all the way down there. If we take a look at my favorite, the IWM, you can see the IWM is just falling off a cliff. This thing is so ready for a bounce. The bounce has got to come by next week. So this one is already in correction territory. It's down about 13%, getting all the way to the bottom of the consolidation. That's going to be almost 14%. So logic only seems that there should be a bounce if it gets down towards the end or the bottom of this consolidation. Plus we have the other averages that are coming up on some support as well. So I would expect a bounce next week, but who knows what the heck is going to happen. But let's actually get into some other charts. All right, so right now I want to get into some stocks that I think are going to have a pretty decent probability of having a nice snapback once the market does eventually bounce. And I'm going to go through these in no particular order, but the first one I want to talk about is SoFi. You can see SoFi is coming into this support area right around 14 to about 14.5, and we can see SoFi, this thing has just been falling off a cliff over the last few weeks. I mean, this thing is down over 40%, just since November 11th. So massive pullback in SoFi. It's coming into support. They did come out with earnings a few weeks ago, and the earnings were actually pretty darn good. A lot of people were very excited about those earnings. So kind of surprised that SoFi is falling off a cliff like this, but these are the type of stocks that are getting hit. So it is what it is, but I would expect a decent bounce from SoFi once the market eventually does turn around. Who knows when that is going to be, but another one that I want to get into is the Tattooed Chef-A-Rooney. I actually do own some shares in the Tattooed Chef, but I think once the Tattooed Chef gets into this support area, right around $14 a share or so, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we get a nice bounce up in the Tattooed Chef. I mean, the Tattooed Chef was up over $25 a share just a couple of months ago, and now it is off more than 40% as well. So Tattooed Chef is definitely due for a bounce, and that the Tattooed Chef does have a nice cult following. Next one I want to get into is DKNG. Now, this is one that I missed out on last year, and this thing has just been screaming higher, but lately this thing has been screaming lower. I mean, this thing is falling off a cliff, and you can see the trajectory is getting really, really steep. So this type of trajectory is what usually comes right before a nice size snap up. I mean, DraftKings is all the way down under $28 a share. I mean, this thing's at $65 just a couple of months ago, and that represents a 57% haircut on DraftKings. Next one I want to talk about is Opendoor. You can see Opendoor has been falling off a cliff, and this one is coming right into support as well, right around $13.75. Opendoor is off about 45% in just the last month or so. So Opendoor is certainly due for a bounce. Next one is Fubo. Fubo is a very popular stock, but this one has been falling off a cliff as well. It had a nice or a not nice breakaway gap, depending if you're a shareholder or not. But it had if you like to trade gaps, this is what they call a nice breakaway gap, because this thing has just been screaming lower. But it is coming into this support area right around, I would call it 15.5 to probably 16.5. So Fubo is certainly right for a bounce, and this one is off over 50% from just about a month ago. So huge pullback in Fubo. And last one I want to talk about is Nano Dimensions. This thing is really starting to roll over. Nano Dimensions is off almost 40% itself over the last month. So Nano Dimension is one that I talked about in yesterday's video about how the long-term options are getting super cheap on Nano Dimensions. That's the way that I am going to play it. If we do get a little bit more downside, I'm probably just going to buy about 10 or 12 2024 Leap call options. Probably the, well, you know what, I haven't decided on which price, but probably going to sit on about 10 or 12 of them depending on the strike that I decide to go with. But Nano Dimensions is looking really good as well. All right, well, now I'm going to get into my trading activity for the day. Before I do that, please remember, none of this is trading advice. This is all for entertainment purposes only. I'm just showing you guys what I did. Please make all of your own trading decisions. But I do have a Patreon group, so if you'd like to join our small little trading group and know what we are trading, I do have that link down there in the description. It's only $10 a month. And if you don't mind liking the smash button, I would really appreciate it. It helps out the channel, so they say. But the first one I want to talk about is Palantir. I couldn't help but add some shares to Palantir. I bought some at $18.46. So my average cost is, I think, right around $20 even. So that one is starting to come down. The next one that I bought, don't laugh, was Alibaba. I added some more Alibaba at $111.11. I figured that was a lucky number, and with this position, I could use all the luck I can get. Now, I still believe in this company for the long term. I think eventually we are going to get past all of those concerns with the delisting. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would be lying if I said I wasn't concerned about that. But I'm going to take advantage of this, price decline in Alibaba, and it's actually up from where I bought it. The first time ever that I bought some Alibaba stock, and it's actually above where, that last purchase anyway. I'm way, way, way down on this one. I think my average cost is maybe 155 right now, give or take, more or less. I would have to double check that, but I do think that probably eventually someday going to make some money on this one. But the big news with the Chinese stocks today was, of course, the delisting news on Didi. I guess it is official now that they are going to be in the process of delisting. How does that work? I have no idea. I'm going to be very interested to see exactly what happens. But you can see Didi getting absolutely crushed on this news. And all of the other Chinese stocks that were holding up very well were taking a big hit today as well. The other one that I was surprised to see getting crushed, it was JD.com. You can see this one rolled over pretty hard. It is holding just below that 200 period simple moving average, but you can see it has broken this uptrending channel that it was making. So that, I guess it's still kind of right there. So I wouldn't call it broken just yet, because they can, dip a little bit below it as long as they jump right back above it. The channel is still technically intact, but I was kind of surprised to see JD getting hit. Another one was Baidu. I have a small position in this one. You can see this one is breaking down under support. That is not a good sign. These things aren't getting absolutely crushed, but definitely with that news coming out with Didi, the delisting rumors, are gaining some more traction. This gets definitely closer to potentially being a reality. Now, I don't think that's going to be the end of the world. I would be able to transfer my shares over. So I don't think that would be the end of the world, but, we'll have to see how that goes. I've never actually, had a stock that got delisted, so it's going to be news to me if it does. Another one was Tencent, Tchy. Yep, got that right. Usually I can never remember that one. Tencent falling down below this support area, but, it's still not, getting absolutely decimated. It's down 5%, but, just having a lot of pressure on these Chinese stocks right now. It's going to be interesting to see how these things play out. But let's get into the day trade I made on the day. This is actually the good news for the day. I bought some LGVN. This one I kind of ad-libbed a little bit. It wasn't exactly like my trading system dictates how I trade these day trades in the morning, but there was so much going on this morning. I was watching Palantir, Alibaba, and several others. I wasn't even hardly paying attention to these day trades, but let's go to the 5-minute chart. I'll show you how it played out. I actually bought it on this break right here. I didn't even wait for the break of the 15-minute, the 15-minute high. I got in at, actually put this order in when it was still down here, and then I didn't even realize it got executed until a few minutes after I was already in it. And once I saw that I was in it, I just took the profit because I wanted to concentrate on those other big trades that I was trying to make. And let me see where I got in and out at. I got in at, let me see if I have my notes in front of me. Oh, they're there. I got in at $24.81, so right here. And I took profit at $25.73. You can see it went as high as 26 even, so I considered myself very lucky to actually make money on this trade. You know, it was a slight deviation from my system, so when you make those slight deviations, you know, you got to be a little bit more careful. Even though, you know, my system dictates that I don't do swing trades when the market is choppy like this, and I already broke that and took those couple of trades in the QQQ with those options, and those didn't work out. So I figured if I was breaking rules, what the heck, you know, might as well go big or go home. But this one actually worked out pretty good. But those were my trades for the day. Okay, everyone, that is all I have for this video, so I'm going to end it right there. But if you have any questions or comments on any of these stocks, or if you have any other ones you want me to take a look at, please leave it down there in the comments section. I will get to them as soon as I can. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.